Why does that one low-key look like me? I chose this pattern specifically for the size and shape of, the butt. Hello and welcome to the Faded Wildflower Crochet. My name is Rachel. Now, a few months ago, I did a video where I tested out 4 different free crochet patterns that I found in 4 different ways. So today we are going to be doing that video all over again, except for today is the Halloween version. I love Halloween. Well, I love the cute, cozy side of Halloween. I don't really like the actually scary part of Halloween because I'm a big chicken. But I do like the cute, cozy, maybe slightly creepy part of Halloween. And I feel like all of these patterns definitely fit that category. So the first pattern is not technically free and it's not technically Halloween, but stick with me. I was able to get a physical copy of this book from my library, which is called The Crochet World of Creepy Creatures and Cryptids by Ricky Gustafson. I do not know how to say your last name, Ricky. I am so sorry. So when I did my last video on ways to find free crochet patterns, I know a lot of people did not even think about using their local library to find crochet patterns. Maybe you've just kind of forgotten about your library over time, or maybe you go get regular books there, but you don't even think about trying to find crochet pattern books. Well, they have them and you can find them digitally, and sometimes you could be lucky enough like me and find a physical copy, which was really exciting. So this book has 40 different cute, slightly creepy creatures in it. And like I said, not technically Halloween, but what is more Halloween-like than cute, creepy little creatures? So I just had a blast paging through this book, and it was actually really hard for me to decide which of these patterns I was going to do. Why does that one low-key look like me? I ended up deciding on this little guy, which is called a Leshy. Now, I picked him mostly because he looked like a cuter version of the Nowhere King from Centaur World. You guys watch that show? Me and my kids love that show. I had never heard of a Leshy before, but she has a little blurb at the beginning of her pattern saying that a Leshy comes from Slavic mythology, and it is a creature that protects the forest and all of the creatures that live there. So he's mostly benevolent if you are kind and respectful to the creatures there. But if you come there and mean to do harm to the creatures that live there or any of the plants that live there, he might get a little dangerous. So I wouldn't want to cross him. I just love that little backstory, and I love that it was included in the book. So let's go ahead and cut to Leshy making Rachel. Okay, here he is, and I think he turned out so adorable. Overall, this was a really fun and pretty quick pattern to make. I did make some changes. So the pattern called for the leaves around the neck to be felt that you glued on, but I only really like to sew felt, which is what I did for the eyes and the nose here. And I really just didn't feel like sewing down a bunch of individual leaves. And so I just crocheted a little vine all in one piece, and then I just sewed that down. And I think it looks really, really cute. I will say that it is something that I noticed as I was flipping through the book is that there are a lot of patterns that depend on felt. Now, some people are going to love this. Some people are going to hate this. I, like I said, really only like to sew down felt, and I work with felt a lot, and I just like to sew it. I don't even own a hot glue gun, so for me, that's a lot of sewing to do when it comes to felt. But if you like to glue down felt, then you're going to love a lot of the patterns in this book. The other thing that I noticed is that there's really not a lot of process photos. There's not a lot of photos that show you like the process of making it. It's kind of just a few photos of the finished product, which again doesn't really bother me. But if you are looking for process photos, you're not really going to find them in this book. Otherwise, though, I feel like this was a very fun, quick pattern to make. And I mean, the cuteness cannot be denied. My daughter said that it looks like he's wearing like a little onesie, and I cannot unsee that. And it really just makes him all the more cute to me, while also, again, being like a little bit creepy, but a little bit cute. I think he turned out adorable, and it was so much fun to make. So if you can find this book at your local library, I definitely recommend it. Or even if you want to buy it and support this designer, I can definitely say that this pattern was a lot of fun. And I have my eye on some of the other patterns if I have time to get to them before Halloween, because there are just so many cute ones to choose from. So the next free pattern I decided to find was one that was a video tutorial here on YouTube. And if you watched my last video, then you'll know that I don't really prefer video tutorials for myself. I'm more of a written pattern person myself. I just prefer it that way. But I know a lot of people really love video tutorials. And the last video I did, I actually did end up enjoying doing the video tutorial. So I decided to do another one. And I found this absolutely adorable bat by Crochet Amigurumi. And Zach, the guy behind this channel, actually commented on one of my videos one time. So if you're watching this, hi, Zach. So let's go ahead and cut to bat making, Rachel. So here he is. I think he turned out absolutely adorable. And the video was super, super easy to follow. And the best part is Zach really gives you a lot of like tips and tricks along the way. So if you're pretty new to making amigurumi, I think he's got some really valuable tips in there. And I also really liked that the pattern was put up on the screen as well. So if you needed to pause and read that for a second and get the hang of it, you could do that. I will say that the only part that was a little bit tricky is the wings. I like that they're basically two panels that you crochet together, but it was a little bit fiddly to get it to look super neat. I would say that if you are a brand new beginner and you've never ever made an amigurumi before, this might be a little bit tricky. He does walk you through it, but I could still see someone getting a bit frustrated if you've never made amigurumi before. But if you've made a couple of amigurumi before and you're ready to take on a little bit more challenge, I would say that this pattern is perfect for you. So I definitely recommend this. Although I did show this to my husband who loves bats, and he said that the wings were not big enough. He wants them to be like super big so they can like actually wrap around him. So I may be making this again and making like some really big wings. So keep an eye out for that one so I can make my very picky husband happy and have a bat that has really big wings. But other than that, I do think it's really cute. I actually really love the yarn colors that I chose for this one. I just love this yarn in general, and the sparkly orange eyes. I do think he is super, super cute. Overall though, I really do recommend this pattern. Maybe not to brand new beginners, but to anybody else who wants to give this a try, it is a lot of fun to make. So next I chose a pattern on Instagram. I have so many patterns saved on my Instagram, but I chose this adorable little mushroom in a pumpkin guy because I thought that he was kind of unique. I hadn't really seen anything like him before. And so I just had to make him. I just thought he was way too adorable not to make. So let's go ahead and cut to me making that little guy. So here he is. I think he is very, very cute, but I'm not gonna lie, to me, the proportions feel a little bit off, but we'll get to that in a minute. So I did make some changes where I added some spots to the top of the mushroom since I went for this red mushroom with the white spots. I think it looks really cute. I also added a row of single crochet to the pumpkin like hat portion of the pattern just because it didn't stick up enough for me. In her photos, it shows it sticking up a little bit more, but mine didn't for some reason. So I just added a little extra row right there to make it stand out a little bit more. Now it did have the option in the pattern of sewing the mushroom head to the pumpkin. And I do think that looks really cute so that it kind of tilts backwards like that. But the problem with that is you can't see the top of the pumpkin very well that way. So like I said, I really just feel like the proportions are a bit off to me. I actually made this the first time in Burlap Blanket, and I thought that maybe it was just my yarn choice that made the proportions off. So I started again in this thinner yarn, and I still feel like the proportions are a little bit different in my finished version than they are in her photo, if that makes sense. Like to me, her pumpkin looks a little bit bigger and her hands and feet look a little bit bigger. So if I were to do this pattern again, I would, first of all, just crochet the top of the pumpkin separately and sew that a little bit more on top like that, if that makes any sense. And then I would make the pumpkin a little bit bigger and the hands and feet a little bit bigger, just to give it a little bit more of a proportional look. Just for me personally, I would make a few changes if I were to make this again, but I did really, really like the way the mushroom was written. And I think that actually on its own, it's really cute. I'll have to insert a picture of the first one that I made because I ended up taking the pumpkin part off and just using it as a normal mushroom. And I could see myself definitely making that again and just making mushrooms with it because I really like the way it was written. And I think it's really, really cute. So you will have to let me know if you think that I'm being a little bit too harsh on this guy. I do think he's cute overall, but like I said, I just feel like the proportions are a little bit off. So for the last pattern of the day, I decided to go old school and find a pattern on a blog. This was the main way that I used to find free patterns back in the day before Instagram and YouTube were really much of a thing. And I know I'm dating myself there, but there are definitely still some great blogs out there. So I found this absolutely adorable spider on the blog called the Caffeinated Snail. So let's go ahead and cut to me making that cutie. I made 4 legs. That's half the legs of a spider. Got halfway through making the legs of my spider and realized that I completely did the pattern wrong. So now I have to start over. So here she is, and oh my goodness, I am obsessed with her. I chose this pattern specifically for the size and shape of, the butt, which sounds really weird now that I'm saying that out loud, but the thorax, is that what it's called? I really like the way that it's shaped. It's kind of a unique shape, and I like the proportions of the bigger butt next to the smaller head. I just think that she is so, so cute. I also really liked that the legs are basically sewed together and then sewed to the body. That made it so, so easy. I just really, really like the way that she looks. I think she is quite cute. Another thing that I liked about this pattern is that it's kind of like a recipe blog where you can click at the top, jump to recipe. Do you know what I'm talking about? This is the same way that it is in this pattern. You can click jump to pattern, and it takes you to just the written version of the pattern. But there are pictures and tips and stuff throughout the top portion of the blog post. So it's kind of the best of both worlds, honestly. I really love that. The only real critique I would say of this pattern is that she doesn't give specific rounds of where to put the eyes. That didn't really bother me too much because, like I said, there are photos that you can reference, but if you're somebody that really likes very specific directions of where to put eyes, just know that this is not going to have that. But there are so many photos that you could reference that it's really not too much of a problem. I am definitely going to be checking out some other patterns on this blog. And I also really want to make this spider again in some chunky yarn because I think she would be so cute. I actually do really like this yarn that I got thrifting. It is the Peaches and Cream brand, and it's actually a lot easier to work with than other Peaches and Cream yarn that I've tried in the past. It's a little less stiff. However, when I was sewing with it, it broke a couple of times. I'm really beginning to think that I just pull way too hard when I sew. So overall, I definitely recommend this pattern if you're looking for a cute free spider pattern to make this Halloween. Thank you so much for watching today's video. You'll have to let me know which one is your favorite. I feel like it's a really, really hard choice. If I had to choose, I would probably choose the Leshy. I think he's quite adorable, but I also really like the spider. I don't know. They're all really cute in their own way. But you'll have to let me know what was your favorite. If you've made it this far in the video, let me know. What were you working on as you were watching this video? If you did like today's video, be sure to hit the like button. You can subscribe, stick around. Let me know what other kind of videos you want to see next. You can follow me on Instagram, which is The Faded Wildflower. You can check out my Patreon, where you can pay $5 a month to get a bonus video and an exclusive pattern. You can check out my Etsy shop, where I sell patterns as well as custom plushies. And thank you again for watching. I'll see you next time.